Carolina, just across the street from Charlotte Motor Speedway, where Part 2 of the International Race of Champions IROC part of the Heritage Invitational is just getting underway. Earlier today, we saw 18 drivers go out in vintage IROC machines. Kurt Busch and Jeff Gordon put on a great back-and-forth battle to win, for the win, with Kurt Busch coming out on top. Now, 10 professional drivers and 10 amateur drivers are paired up in the IROC Pro-Am. The first car is on the track. We are green already. You can see it's an autocross type competition, and this is Rob Kaufman. Rob, one of the co-owners of the IROC series, one of the drivers who basically purchased a spot alongside a pro in this competition. They have to go around these corners, steer clear of the gates, and set a best combined time. Kaufman is paired with former IROC and NASCAR Cup Series champion Bobby Labonte, and whoever comes away with the best combined time through round 1 and round 2 is going to wind up advancing on in our competition. So Kaufman navigating, there's the finish line, and he will set the first time of this event. Now, there are penalties for hitting cones, there are penalties for going off course, penalties for missing gates, and more to come, as now the pro of this Pro-Am team, Bobby Labonte, gets set to go. Amateurs in the silver cars, pros in the blue cars. Now, here's another fun twist on this. Just an hour or so ago, the amateur drivers got a chance to make a practice run around the course. They got a chance to do a sighting, figure out where all the gates are, kind of like, that they see in downhill skiing. They got a chance to have a sighting lap, and then they got a chance to make a practice lap. The pro drivers did not. They could either be the passenger in the passenger seat of the amateurs practice, or they're going green for the first time out, figuring this course out as they go. So waiting on the signal to be given that Bobby Labonte is released onto the course. Labonte, the 2001 IROC champion, 2000 NASCAR Cup Series champion, and there he goes. So again, a race against the clock. Each of the pro and amateur drivers will get 2 runs. And then the combined times will set up an elimination after the second round. Bottom 5 teams get dropped before we go on to our semifinal round. So here is Bobby now. All of the drivers and teams sharing these cars. So there's no individual setup that comes into play. There's nothing like that. They're all in the same machinery, and it's all about making your best time through the different cones. Part of the pre-race driver's briefing was talking about using the paddle shifters in the car, setting it into a manual shift mode, and now coming down the hill now, that beautiful banked corner at the lowest part of the 1010s Motor Club course, turn 14, get through the gates, get up the hill, and get quickly around to the right through another couple of gates before you hit the orange cones that mark the finish line. Slalom, sprint to the finish, and there it is. So Bobby Labonte is finished with his run. And we wait for some of the times and speeds to be posted. So there are 10 teams, all of whom were paired up last night at a charity dinner benefiting Speedway Children's Charities, the Heritage Invitational, a function to raise money for that group that does such tremendous work in the communities around Speedway Motorsports facilities. So here is Wyatt Foster. Wyatt, a young driver out of the Greensboro area who competes as the AM driver in a Pro-Am team in Lamborghini Super Trofeo, an IMSA competition. He is here getting ready to make a go. All right, so waiting on the next run of our Pro-Am pairings as Wyatt Foster sits at the ready. Foster is paired with Max Pappas, who will be in that blue car next in line on the speedway. Looks like sorting through just a couple of things here to make sure any times are posted and penalties applied that might need to be from the first couple of runs that we've had. So, again, it's combined times. Rob Kaufman and Bobby Labonte, the first team to run, as Wyatt Foster is signaled out onto the course. Let's check in with Amanda Busick.
Hey, Alan, I have to tell you, this whole area is absolutely hilarious. I've seen drivers go down to scope what's going on. I've seen drivers talk about how the practice went. Boris said back there was like, I didn't even get a hardship lap here today. So there's going to be an adventure on this track here today. But the first pair out that will have a combined time here in round one is Rob Kaufman and Bobby Labonte. You were the first one to see the track. What's the pressure there?
Well, we're leading the leaderboard, so there you go, P1. Exactly. So we can only go down from here, but no, it's good fun. So we did this last year. It was great. The Mustangs were really fun. I think the trick is, at least for the first elimination round, trying to murder too many cones.
Well, both of you guys saw the track earlier. Is there any, assimilation from the IROC to this Mustang?
No.
They both have a steering wheel.
No, I didn't spin out. So, hey, so far so good. I did. Hey, I think I might have clipped a cone, which I did in the IROC race too. So I am really on par.
I heard you got a penalty.
I told you I got one cone. Yeah, a cone, maybe more than one.
Thank you, guys. All right, Alan, I'll try to keep these guys under control down here.
Good luck with that, Amanda. And Wyatt Foster clipped a cone also, we saw. So the upright cones at the end of the stacks of cones, those are considered gates. And if you clip one of those gates, you get a 2-second penalty per gate. If you clip some of the cones that are laying down, those are more. Those are 5 seconds per cone. If you get completely off the track, they call track limits. Now you're into a 10-second penalty. And the way these things usually work, those are not good. So here is Max Pappas, off and on the way. Max competing in the IROC race earlier today and had a fun go with Tommy Dreese for about 4th position in the race. I love the front lights, how they're showing the effects there as he wheels the car through the corners, onto the brakes, and so on. Maybe that was the sun reflecting off it because it's getting sharp in the sky angle here. Look at Max hustle it down here. Downhill. Got through clean. And up through the last couple of gates. Now the last slalom gate for Max. Right. Left. Through it clean. And to the timeline for Max Pappas. All right, so next on the line will be the team of Scott Pruitt and J.C. Fickenshire. So I'd love to be sharing these times and speeds with you and telling you who's running where, but at the moment that data's not coming through. So we're kind of doing this a little bit in the dark at the moment, but hopefully we're able to get that rectified here in just a second and be able to keep you posted on what's going on and who's in the lead. All right, here goes J.C. Fickenshire. Go back down to the staging area to Amanda.
Here today that have a combined time. We have Wyatt Foster and Max Pappas. And you said that there's actually a challenge out on the track that you were facing. What was it?
Yeah, just the first half of the lap as you're starting off and going through the first couple corners, the sun is straight in your eyes. You're like, where are the cones? And you were trying to navigate through there. So it's a challenge. I think it'll get better, obviously, as we go another hour or so. If we can make it through a couple rounds, hopefully it'll be down. But for right now, it's pretty challenging.
I love in round one we're getting all these nerves knocked out as we head to round two. It will be the combine of those before we make any cuts. But you hopped out of that Mustang and you said, I'm not sure I should have done that. What was that?
Schrader asked me, what do I need to do? I told him I took the traction control off. Might not have been the right things to do. So, I mean, this thing brakes like an animal. It's great. More speed to come. No penalty so far. So, for an amateur, I've done my job.
Wait, Max, you're the pro of that bunch, not the amateur. All right, so we'll see how Max fares with his partner, Wyatt Foster, as we go. So we just saw J.C. Fickinger run. Now it's Scott Pruitt, his pro teammate, sitting in the staging area waiting to be waved onto the course. All right, well, while we have a minute, man who's been everywhere on the property for all day long today, from Vintage Indy to IROC, and he's jumped back in here with us for a little bit, is a two-time Indianapolis 500 winner, Al Unser Jr. You having a fun day?
Absolutely, Alan. This is great weather, wonderful facility. I thought the IROC race was just something else, and so now we're here doing the amateurs, the pro-am.
This is Scott Pruitt off and on his way. You know, I think the thing that it's easy to forget about in all the competition we've had today is just raising money for good causes.
Absolutely. The Speedway Children's Foundation is helping so much. And, they raised a bunch of money at that dinner last night.
Yeah,
it was super good.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's fun, an onboard camera with Scott.
He's doing his best out there. Look at that. He's trying to keep it on the racetrack, I think.
Getting through the slalom gates. Yeah, what's he up? Making sure the seatbelt's clicked?
Probably, yeah. I think his IROC car handles a bit better.
Yeah, the way he ran today, for sure. All right, here's that last right, left. Yeah, right, left, and slinging it down to the finish line for Scott Pruitt. How about that? I'll bet he'll have some fun comments after it's done.
Yes, he will. Yep.
All right, so the third Pro-Am team has completed the first of 2 rounds that they'll get. They'll each run twice, remember, and then we'll total up the times and make the first cut of the bottom 5 that will drop out. So next, the Pro-Am team of Tommy Kendall and Patrick Duncan. Patrick behind the wheel waiting next to go. You ever done anything like this?
I have not.
Autocross or anything?
I've done autocross with Speedway Motors. I was driving a 69 Camaro that they built up for us, and my cousin Robbie and I, we'd go to the Good Guys events and compete in autocross, and my cousin is a lot better at autocross than I am. I can tell you, that's tough getting out on a parking lot and going through a sea of cones.
Right.
You know, so.
I would imagine that one of the hardest challenges is just memorizing the course, right? What's coming at you where.
Yep.
Interesting, and especially as Wyatt Foster was just talking a minute ago, the sun being right in your eyes at a couple of spots on the course.
That's got to be tough.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's fun. What's the thing that you'll take away from today most?
Mostly is just, seeing those IROC cars out there. They're just, walking up and down the pits and seeing all my good friends that we used to race against, and seeing all the different generations of IROCs. It was around for so many years, and what Ray said, I totally agree with him. When you were invited to the IROC series, you knew you were going up against the best in the world, and it was fun to do. Absolutely fun to do.
You hang for a couple minutes?
Yes.
Let's hear from some of the people who just finished their runs. Amanda?
Our third pairing that went out is J.C. Fickenshire and Scott Pruitt, and they're on both ends of the spectrum at present. J.C. has the quickest lap around here, even closer or quicker than our pros. You said you knew this track. Why was that your advantage?
Well, I guess I can say it now because we've started already, but yeah, I probably have the most laps out of any person in the world at this place, which doing autocross, it doesn't mean the most, but it still helps a decent bit. I know the track surface pretty well, and majority of the track is like second nature to me, but yeah, I think we're pretty good. I feel like I blew kind of 2 of the corners of my lap, but I think if we just keep things consistent, we should be fine to make it to the next round, and we'll clean it up from there on.
Well, Scott, you weren't happy. It was a calamity going on inside that race car. What happened?
It was. It took off, went through 1-2, going up to the hard brake and the top of the hill, and my phone came off and went down under my feet. So that was a little chasing that under my feet, but I'm not going to take my phone next time.
Well, if I can add to a little bit of the averages based on what I'm seeing down here, it looks like everyone's kind of in the similar area. Wyatt and Max are kind of leading that maybe at like a 101. And then with the third pair here, a 108. And then our first pair with Rob Kaufman and Bobby Labonte, they're around a 108 as well as an average, Alan.
All right, Amanda, thanks. We appreciate the update. So that's what that was. It wasn't reaching for the seatbelt to click it back in. It said he had his phone sitting in the seat next to him.
Can you believe that? He's that good. He could be thinking about his phone when he's out there on the racetrack.
That's too funny. And at least kind enough to let us in on it.
Yes.
Which is fun.
Yeah, he was being honest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, very good. So this should be TK, Tommy Kendall, getting ready to go out onto the racetrack. Tommy had a fun afternoon in the IROC competition.
He did really well today.
He and Scott Pruitt had a nice little fight for what turned out to be second place at the end.
Yep.
And a nice afternoon and nice fun here. So Tommy, again, paired with Patrick Duncan and getting ready to turn it loose here and see what they get. I'm just curious how performance might improve as people get more runs. Second run better than the first, third run better than
that'll
the,
happen. For sure that'll happen. Yep. Because once they're doing the laps right now, this is all kind of new to them. And so now they'll go out there and really run it hard.
That's the problem with that corner. You got to come right back to another one on the inside.
Yeah, this is definitely a modified autocross course, without a doubt.
Cleanly through that gate. And everybody's good there. Nice job, TK.
I tell you, those Mustangs are handling really well out there.
Pretty fun.
They look good, yeah.
All right, here's a big challenge. Yeah, clean, 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 and nice. Bottom of the hill, turn 14, gets it through there. Now charge up the hill. Here comes the final set of gates. There you go. That felt like a nice run.
That looked like, that was a good, clean run.
Very nice. All right, so TK and Patrick Duncan are done. That brings us to our fifth pairing. And that will be the team of Ken Schrader and Jerry Westland. So Jerry, veteran behind the wheel of race cars, vintage racing, that kind of thing. Even, if memory serves me correct, the Toyota, remember the old Pro Celebrity race out at Long Beach?
Yes. Yes,
And,
I do. We were part of that for about 4 or 5 times and always had a great time in the celebrity race, running with the different celebrities and so on. So, okay, we're off and running here. It's looking good. Getting through those gates real clean. Yeah, he's doing good. This is a test right here. All clean
Yep,
so
down the
far.
hill now.
All clean, yep. Doing
good. Different sound. All
yeah,
right,
so he finished that run. It looked clean for sure. No cones.
So Jerry Westland is done with his. And now up to the pro of the pair, which is Ken Schrader.
Oh, yeah. Ken Schrader, I ran the Daytona 500 one time. Ken Schrader and Jeff Gordon were my teammates.
Yep.
Yep.
I remember
Drove
that.
for Rick Hendrick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. How much fun was it?
It was a blast.
Yeah.
I truly enjoyed all the way up until the end. About
Yeah.
10 laps to go, I got taken out, or I took myself out.
Yeah. It's man, it's a challenge, isn't it? Jumping into something different like that, a whole different style of racing.
Daytona was fun, yeah.
The restrictor plate stuff, the drafting,
Oh,
absolutely.
he got in a little deep there.
Come on, Ken. All right, while we watch Schrader run, let's check back with Amanda.
My math is correct. I think you're looking at the third best pair right now. Meet Patrick Duncan running alongside of Tommy Kendall. And the next round will combine for the cuts. What did you learn on this one that you'll apply for this second round?
Just don't make any mistakes and let him score the fast time. So
I said no penalties is first, second, and third priority, and then as quick as you can go with no penalties is next. But he did a really nice job. I mean, not been on the track before and so forth. Doesn't have a lot of experience autocross, anything like that. So he did a nice job. So now my biggest challenge was I got in the car and Bobby Labonte had the radio full blast. He had the seat heater on and so forth. So to get the thing unbobbied, I had to. But of course, I left steering wheel, seat heater on for Joey. So we'll see if he figured that out.
Well, I think the best is you walked right over to me wanting to know what the times were. JC Fickenshire is beating you by 0.3 of a second. Who are you racing right now, him or yourself?
Well, you're always racing the track, but that shows you what's possible. That's impressive. I sat next to him at dinner last night, and he's a young guy, but he's clearly done. You know, he was talking about driving an IROC car here, so he's got some laps, he's done some racing. So the AMs are not supposed to be faster than the pros. So at least I'm the fastest pro so far.
Always something to be gained there, right? Tommy is the fastest, second to J.C. Fickenshire, and just ahead of Max Pappas and Wyatt Foster as we work through this opening round. And our next pair sets off. This is Ryan Wildrick, the amateur team with Boris Said. And while we watch Ryan get his day started, Al, thanks for coming and hanging out with us during the day and being part of what made this day special.
You betcha. Well, thank you so much, Alan. And I just got to thank Ray Abraham, everybody, the whole staff at 1010s Raceway. We've truly enjoyed it.
It's been a terrific day, and look forward to a great day tomorrow as well. Al Unser Jr., two-time Indianapolis 500 winner here with us, and appreciate it. We'll see you in May.
Thank you so much.
Look forward to it. All right, we're going to go on board here with Ryan Wildrick. Onboard camera in this car. Look at him working.
Hey, Ken. Jerry, I'm going to talk to you guys.
All right, up the hill, down the final slalom. Here comes Ryan Wildrick, and let's see what kind of a number he posts. The time to beat is a minute flat and 0.6 of a second. Wildrick will post the fifth best time at a 102.801, pending any penalties. And we'll see if any of those crop up here in the next minute or so. A man who's been everywhere today and wears multiple hats at this event, as one of the co-owners of the IROC organization, as the executive director of the Heritage Invitational, has taken a minute to come sit in the air-conditioned comfort with us in our broadcast booth. My pal Ray Evernham, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Alan. Just feels like old times. Goodness, we spent a lot of time side by side. There's both little bars.
Yeah.
What a great event. These guys look like they're having a blast.
So obviously, the whole scope of the overall event to raise money to serve the needs of children in this area. Terrific dinner last night. These amateur drivers all in here helping contribute to the cause as well. Oh, there goes a cone. That's a problem. That's that's 2 seconds for Boris.
2 seconds?
Yep.
Yeah. A little hard on the brakes. Yeah, absolutely is. You know, this event is about fun and entertainment, and when you can have fun driving race cars, getting people together, having a beautiful dinner, cocktails and things like that, and raise money for Speedway Children's Charity, it's amazing. But, you know, this is, I think, one of the events that we put on that actually shows the versatility and the beauty of this racetrack, that what you can come here and do in your own personal car. Of course, these guys are giving those Mustangs quite a workout, but, you know, it's funny how competitive they get, Alan.
Yes.
Funny how competitive they get.
So I want to talk to you about the IROC event from earlier today in just a minute. First, I want to check with Amanda as we check in with some of the teams as they finish their competition first runs.
Went out Jerry Westland and Ken Schrader, and you guys have been chatting, Beth. I just think you two are having so much fun. Why is this the perfect pair?
Well, probably because I listen, or at least I pretend like I'm listening as often as possible.
And I don't tell him what to do, you know, so I don't tell him what to do. And we don't think we hit anything really hard.
But we're not really sure, so we're kind of waiting for someone to tell us if we hit any cones or not.
Yeah. There's people. Okay, but there's people slower, and that was our goal.
And that mattered. We just didn't want to. We wanted to walk out here with dignity and not be the worst. Which doesn't mean that whoever walks out last shouldn't have any dignity.
No.
But it won't be us.
Alan, sometimes these combos just work.
Yeah, you can tell there's a chemistry there right away.
Oh, yeah, they actually met, and we thought that's a match made in heaven right there. They've got a lot of the same interest.
For sure. That's fun. So now, Dave Roberts on track. His pro partner is Joey Logano. And Dave, veteran racer. We saw him earlier. And here he goes, trying not to knock over any of those cones and gates and see what kind of a time he can post to set his partner Joey Logano up.
And, you know, Dave, longtime the CEO of Carlisle Industries, Hawk Brakes and whatnot, DeVille sponsored Penske Racing for quite a while, helped Joey's teammate Austin Cindric get into professional racing. Dave is a great guy all around when it comes to charity. He's first one. He loves to drive cars, and it was really neat to see him draw Joey Logano with all of that history with Penske Racing.
Had a great conversation with Dave in the IROC paddock yesterday. Here he is across the line, and his time is going to be minute 12.0. So that puts him 12th out of 13 drivers that have gone at the moment. But now here comes his partner, and remember, it's combined times. So Joey Logano getting ready to take the trip to timing lights here and get started. So just take a minute and talk about earlier today, to watch those IROC cars that mean so much to you in your life, in your career path, in your professional passion now, and watch the crowd react to them and the drivers and so on. What was it like?
Alan, it was really heartwarming to see what oh, Joey, yeah, that's all that drifting he's been doing around his farm there. But it's been, it was heartwarming to see what that brand still means to people, to watch the fun, the camaraderie that the drivers had driving cars that have been driven by some of the greatest names in racing. All 7 generations of IROC cars are here on site. And, you know, again, just the response from the crowd and what IROC has meant to motorsports history in general, it really made me feel good, because without IROC, there may have never been a Ray Evernham and Jeff Gordon.
I was just thinking.
I guess there'd have been a Jeff Gordon.
Well, you know,
but maybe not Ray Evernham.
The story might have been different, right?
Yeah.
And for to have spent time in Tinton Falls, New Jersey, and to be here today at this beautiful 1010s Motor Club with a lot of these same vehicles that you know so intimately, just had to be really, really special.
It is. You know, and Alan, again, when you go look at some of the names in those windows, you know, there's cars here that we actually built in 1984 as Camaros, and then they went to Dodge Daytonas, and then they went to Dodge Avengers, and many of the original IROC crew from those Tinton Fall days showed up here today to support me, and it, you know, it is, as your end of your professional career, you look back and say, man, I'd love to do that again. We're getting to do it again.
Yeah, and do it and do it with people you want to be with, and that's a great thing. Hey, we got a new leader in the clubhouse here, Joey Logano.
Yeah.
1 minute flat, .034 for Joey. So he's the leading pro. J.C. Fickenshire is the leading AM. And next up on the line is an interesting pairing. Mark Martin is the pro. This is Kenny Hobble.
Yeah, I don't know how that went. Kenny's quite a race car driver himself.
Kenny races in IMSA competition in endurance racing. And Kenny was the winning bidder last night in an auction to benefit Speedway Children's Charities for the opportunity for the final seat in this field. Kenny had the opportunity to pick his partner, and he picked Mark Martin.
He did, and Kenny made a huge donation, and I'm not ashamed to say he paid $100,000 to do this for charity, for Speedway Children's Charities. Picked Mark Martin. Mark Martin was so humbled that with Kenny, and Kenny's got quite a personality too. He's from Australia, so it's pretty funny listening to him. But he is really a legitimate race car driver.
Here comes Kenny up to the final couple of corners to trip the timing lights. We'll get his time here, and then we'll go back to the staging area here. Oh, look out. There goes a cone.
There's a cone.
That's a gate, and that's a penalty. So we'll add some time to whatever this turns out to be for Kenny. The time is, I saw it pop up on the board here, but there it is. It's 1:02.329 seconds, and there'll be some time there for Kenny. So let's check back down with Amanda.
A look at our sixth pair, Wine Wildrick and Boris said, and we just had Kurt Busch pull off here, burning some more rubber here today. He's having a ball. Before you started today, I saw you walk into the drivers' meeting, and your wife said, "Don't mess this up for us." What was round one for you?
Round one was fun. I think it's a great track. It's pretty quick today, and I think it's going to be a race of no cones and hard shifting. So.
Of course, the first time you even saw this track was in that run just there. The pros didn't get any practice here, and you weren't in that IROC race. How did you adapt?
I was a little too conservative, but they've been running here all day long, so I didn't want to be the bad guy and hit a bunch of cones, but I think we'll be a little quicker the next time. But it's an awesome facility. It's for a great cause, and what Marcus Smith and Mr. Hendrick have built here is unbelievable. What a playground for people that love cars.
Have fun.
Thanks. I will.
Hit a cone.
Here's Mark Martin, and one down. I couldn't tell if he might have just got a second one with the left rear tire on the way out of that last gate.
Yeah, Mark hit a little bit of a cone there.
Cones don't like it when you hit them.
I will tell you, but you talk about, again, just tenacious drivers. Mark Martin, one of the most tenacious race car drivers that ever competed against. And just an amazing guy. And again, here having fun, supporting, sitting and signing autographs for the fans. And now he's out there having a blast driving a Mustang.
Final corner. And here he comes to the timing line for Mark Martin. So Mark is going to post the 10th best time, a 108.019 second lap for Mark Martin on his first run. Now remember, all the pros and all the M's get a second run. And then we add up the times and we drop the bottom five.
Right, we start to eliminate, and that's the goal. We'll eliminate until we get the final three, and they run for the big trophy. And they do here at this 10/10 Motor Club, certainly around the old Charlotte days and Bruton Smith. And Bruton Smith said he liked big trophies. So Marcus Smith has carried that tradition going forward with big trophies.
So you're saying it's going to be
a nice
big
trophy. Yeah.
Very nice. Here's David Veronin on the track. David, a racer we see a lot in sports car competition. His pro partner is Tommy Dreese, and Amanda is standing by down in the staging area.
You're going to meet pair number 7, Joey Logano and Dave Roberts. And Joey, your first time ever seeing this track, you put it up on the top. Just how?
It was fun. I had a good time. I had a good ride with Dave earlier and got to learn a little bit of the track. I did find out that the paint is slick. I did not realize that until I got in it. And I don't know what the corner numbers are, but after the second gate you drive through, I got a little wide. And I had a moment. But it all kind of came through at the end there. So it was kind of fun. It's a fun little track, and it's a little slick. If I'm being honest, it's pretty slick, so I may have pushed it a little bit hard.
Did you experience that as well, Dave?
No, because I don't go as fast as he does, but I'm going to get on the paint if it gets me down to 1 minute. So I'm going to try the paint. Don't go to the paint. No, but I don't know if it's an advantage or not, but I ran IROC today. So, but a totally different thing. You know, we're running race cars on slicks compared to this, and it's a little tight. I mean, tighter than even normal.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Dave. And here is Tommy Dreese, former Trans Am champion, winner of the IROC outing out at the Monterey Rolex Historics last summer, and back in the field today. Had a nice fun back and forth with Max Pappas in the IROC race earlier today. Tommy from Los Angeles.
And Tommy is honestly one of the most fun guys I've ever been around. He's wide open all the time. I kid him around because he's always quick. But today, we've been penalizing some IROC drivers. So today, Tommy got penalized for bumping in the back of Max Pappas. So the deal was you got fined 1 case of beer for spinning out, 2 cases of beer for contact with another car. So they said, "Are we drinking all the beer?" I said, "No, we're selling it to fix the damage."
Look at him wrestle that Mustang through.
Tommy's a great driver. You know, the Trans Am cars that they run nowadays are just so wicked fast. And certainly being a former Trans Am champion, he does a great job at it.
That's the 8th quickest lap of the day, 103.134 for Tommy Dreese. And so we're down to our final pair of run number 1. The pro in the blue car is Kurt Busch, and the amateur in the silver car getting ready to go is Jeff Owen. Here's Amanda.
Mark Barton and Kenny Habul are pair number 8 here for the Pro-Am Invitational. And I want to go back to before we started this. You rode along with Kenny, and I saw your face when you guys kicked off that practice lap. What was that like for you, Mark?
Man, Kenny knows how to brake. I'm telling you what, these cars stopped. I thought we were gone. The first time we came up, the car just stopped, man. But he's really fast. I think, I had my first lap, so I think I can do better if I get another shot at it here.
Well, you guys will have another shot at it. And you joined us late. You joined us last night into this event. What's the experience for you, Kenny?
Oh, it's a lot of fun, and it's a real dream to drive with Mark, and we're having fun. I looked up to him all my life, so glad to do it together. It's a little tricky here because you don't get much practice. And I think I had a really good time, but I hit a couple of cones, so unfortunately that put us down the order, so we're not sure.
Round 2.
Thank you.
All right, another round coming up here as we watch Jeff Owen make his way around through the course, head down toward the lower part of the track, and now come up to start-finish and get ready to trip those timing lights.
Jeff Owen, one of our guys back from last year, so made last year's and this year's. Appreciate his support.
Minute 5.4 seconds for Jeff. He is the 10th best lap to this point, and ahead of a few of the pros, too. So now here's our last pro, and he was our first finisher in the IROC race earlier today. Kurt Busch is off on his first run.
And
Driving
Kurt
past
is
the marks where he left the
having
burnout earlier.
Great time. He is, he and Jeff Gordon put on a great show today in the IROC race. Kurt is just out there having a great time, signing autographs and whatnot. But as I've said, these guys, they love it. They love to do it. They love to drive, but they are very competitive. It's still about winning with these guys.
Absolutely. Love the drone shot. You get a look at that top part of this 10/10 Motor Club course, which has a few different configurations that can be used here, depending on what your needs are and what's on the track on a given day.
Yeah, not only a few different configurations as far as the lengths of the tracks that you want to run, but this track can be completely reversed and run the opposite way. So however many tracks you can make at it, double it, because we can run it backwards.
That's awesome. Let's check with Amanda.
I cannot with these guys down here. Let's introduce David Veronin and Tommy Dreese. Ever since they've paired up, you guys have just been so hilarious together. But you keep like shaking your hands out here. Are you more nervous in this than you were in the IROC race?
Yeah, actually, I am. I've never driven a car. The TA cars, they have no driver aid. And he was so I got nauseous when I drove with him. I go, I have to do well. You know, he did a lot to be here, and I don't want to let him down. So, yeah, I'm shaking. I'm nervous.
When you were caught up on stage last night, Tommy said, "Come on down, David Vroom." Vroom. What do you make of that nickname?
So I thought that was a mistake. And then Yaka's like, no, I guarantee you she made that nickname for you. Oh, that was all you. I thought it was your idea. That was all you. Let's go.
Nice job, guys.
That was cool. Thank you.
There's a couple of big personalities teamed together to go fast. That's
yeah,
fun.
you know, and again, you can just see those guys having fun. As I told you, Tommy is a guy that is just wide open all the time. He is just a pleasure to have around at IROC. You know, when you got guys like Tommy Dreese and Kenny Schrader in the same tent,
yes,
it gets interesting.
There's energy, there's smiles, there's laughs, and there's stories. Lots of stories, for sure. All right, so round one is complete. And now we line them up again, and they'll head back out for round number 2. And when we get to the end of that second set of runs for all 20 of our competitors, the AMs and the pros, we will find out who gets dropped and fails to advance on toward our championship. This is the IROC Pro-Am as part of the Heritage Invitational, and we're going to take a break here while we get ready for round number 2 and come right back to the 1010s Motor Club on Racing America. The Heritage Invitational from 1010's Motor Club in Concord, North Carolina. We're in the second part of our IROC competition today. This is the IROC Pro-Am. AMs in the silver cars, pros in the blue cars. It's an autocross type competition, and we're getting ready to go in round number 2. Earlier today, Kurt Busch held off Jeff Gordon in a fun fight in the IROC Series portion. And, of course, tomorrow, the Concours d'Elegance, with 120 amazing vehicles on display here and going through the judging process to see who wins their categories and, of course, the best of show prizes. That's tomorrow. You can see it here on Racing America starting at 12 noon Eastern Time from here. What's supposed to be a spectacular day weather-wise, as today has been. So sending the first cars for the second round of runs out onto the speedway. Top time in the opening round was Joey Logano at a minute flat, .034 seconds. J.C. Fickenshire had the top AM time at a minute flat, .610 seconds. And as we get ready for round number 2, let's check in with Amanda Busick.
Our last pair in round 1 to introduce is Kurt Busch and Jeff Owen, and they've been talking about strategy at the start of their lap times. Care to share what the strategy is for the start? Not to give it out, but the guys aren't listening.
What's fun is Jeff took me around, so he was my coach because I didn't do this last year, and so it was fun to ride around with him. And again, it's no penalties. Just be smooth, try not to bog your car down, and just keep the rhythm going. So Jeff did great to coach me.
I don't know about that. I think he's being really nice.
That's good. I think we got a good shot at it. Just got to stay consistent. I think we can get to round 3.
Well, I won't tell the secret, but I will say Kurt threw out the reference of drag racing. So I don't know. Maybe there's something to that, guys.
There goes a cone as we get our second round underway. Bobby Labonte and Rob Kaufman. Here is Rob. On his way down the hill toward turn number 14. It was a minute 7 and change. First time around for Rob. And that was the 13th best time. We'll see what he is able to come up with here. As remember, it's the combined times from rounds 1 and 2 that'll determine the 5 that get cut. Look at him wrestle that car through the gates, up the hill. And final couple of corners here for Rob Kaufman, co-owner of IROC, former NASCAR Cup Series team owner, and great car collector, and he'll have a few really precious machines on display tomorrow in our concours. That's a little bit better time for Rob. That's going to be a minute 6.709 seconds, 106.709. So Rob shows 13th out of best lap ranks anyway. So Bobby Labonte, who talked about maybe making friends with a few cones in a way he didn't wish to on his opening run, getting set to go here. Former IROC champion, former NASCAR champion, NASCAR Hall of Famer. Another one of those who owes the IROC folks a fine from an earlier incident. And if you haven't picked up on the joke by now, the fines are all in jest. Until yesterday, no one had ever been fined in the history of IROC competition. Tommy Kendall picked up the first fine. The fine was a case of beer. So a couple more fines were passed out today. And now let's see how Bobby does here and if he can keep from offending any of the cones on his way around. He was a minute 9.815 last time. And looking to see if he can shave a good bit off of that. Best way to do that is don't hit anything. Into the slalom gates. Clean through there. Nice. Down the hill we go. Only problem with the onboard view is you can't see if he's hitting anything. Oh, got the wipers on. All right, well, when Amanda visits with Bobby Labonte, we're going to have to find out if he thought it was raining or something. But he is through, and his second run time is going to be a minute 7.904. That's a little bit better than his prior time. So Bobby Labonte at a minute 7.9 and sets up now for the team of Wyatt Foster and Max Pappas to take to the Speedway for their second run. Wyatt ran the 5th best time first time around. Max ran the 4th best time. So if they're not leading this thing, they're pretty close on those combined times. But, of course, still each have to have a nice clean lap here. So here's Wyatt Foster from Greensboro getting ready to go. Pretty good looking so far. Oh, there we go. That's a gate. And from the sounds of it, that gate is still with him. All right, so Wyatt is through, and he did a lap of 101.970. 101.970 is the time for Wyatt. How you doing? All right, so waiting on next, Max Pappas to head out onto the race course. And while we're here watching this IROC Pro-Am competition at this beautiful 1010s Motor Club, the man who takes care of it and makes sure it all operates like it's supposed to every day has stepped into the booth to join us. Graham Smith, first of all, my first time stepping in here yesterday. Wow, congratulations. That's my first thought.
Thanks so much, Alan. Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. We gotten to see a lot of awesome racing today and getting to see some more right now. Max, the Italian Stallions out there, about to go throw down a lap. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
So tell me the amount of planning that goes into an event like this. I mean, this isn't necessarily what you do on a daily basis, right? This is a big spectator event for the Motor Club. How long does it take to make all this happen?
We started planning the day that the Heritage ended last year. So we really dove in. With the leadership of Ray Evernham, we've had a lot of fun planning it. We took all of our notes, all of us, even during this event. We've got a notes page on all of our phones, and we're taking some good notes and learning about what we can do better. But you just try and improve every single year and notice things that are areas of improvement. But yeah, it's been a ton of fun. We plan it really all year. Actually, it is all year, but it's especially as we lead up to the event, when January hit, it's like, okay, like we're having the home stretch now. Yeah. So, but man, I can't believe the amount of people that we had today. To announce a sellout was really, really cool in year 2 at 1010s. And yeah, so we're really excited about it.
Hang out with us just for a second. Want to hear from Bobby Labonte, who's with Amanda.
Well, after Bobby Labonte got out of his race car, he turned on the radio full blast and put the heat on the steering wheel for Tommy Kendall. But I'm totally going to throw Alan Bestwick under the bus here because this is his question. Did it start raining out there?
Dude, there's a lot of stuff happening, and I don't know if it's on the automatic mist or something, but somebody might be back there throwing water out because the wipers came all by themselves. I'm sure it's what happened. So, yeah, wipers missed the shift here and there. I don't know. Didn't figure that one out yet. But, yeah, we had a good time. But, hey, Tommy's going to have a great time in a heated-up race car with the radio playing wide open.
Well, Bobby did tell me, guys, the environment's changed out here. You'll see that the lights are on the track. The headlights are on these Ford Mustangs. So round 2 getting kind of challenging out here.
And what we're finding out quickly is everybody's doing everything they can to leave behind whatever they can in an uncomfortable position for whoever takes over the car behind them. All right.
Well, oddly reminiscent of Mario Kart for sure, trying to leave some banana peels in the road for others to hit. Though it looks like Max is doing a good job of avoiding those banana peels.
So best time's been set by Joey Logano at a minute flat, .034. Here comes Max. Finish line in sight. And what do we get for Max? His first time was a minute 1.71, almost identical, a minute 1.939 for Max. So you combine those two with the time of his teammate, and he's looking in pretty good shape.
Definitely, captain consistency here.
Max Pappas and Wyatt Foster. So Foster with right now the second best time of the AMs, and Max with the 4th best time overall and the 3rd best time for the pros. So that's pretty good. And next up is Patrick Duncan and, this is J.C. Fickenshire, who has the best time of the AMs, and Scott Pruitt, his teammate right behind him. Now, J.C. came on our interview afterward and said, I've got more laps here than any other person, period.
It is definitely true. JC has been out here a lot. He actually manages our track operations here, so he's got a lot of experience on the track. He's a bit of a hot shoe and does not know the term shakedown, only knows how to go flat out, so we're excited to see. Oh, there's a cone.
There's a cone. That's not a good one. That's an automatic couple of seconds added on to the time.
Well, hopefully he can make it up here. Late on the brakes there.
You talked about earlier the planning that goes into this event. I saw the picture you folks posted on your socials about it takes a village.
It does.
And
yes.
the team of people that's gone into making this the Heritage Invitational be what it is.
There's an immense amount of pride in our team on what we do, and it carries down from the top to the bottom. We have a great team of people that are all so excited. Look, you can see us all the day of. We're here at 6 a.m. ready to go. We'd like to open the gates right then to let everybody in, and it's been awesome to see all the excitement from our team on this one.
Final couple of slalom gates for J.C. Fickenshire. Let's see what the time will be. He's going to be down at a minute flat again, but remember had that one cone of an issue earlier, so we'll see what that does to his overall effort. But J.C. Fickenshire again in that minute flat time around the race course.
I got to think it's the bigger car. He's excellent in a Legend car, but that is quite small in comparison. So maybe he's still figuring out how large this Mustang is and learning how to throw the weight around a little bit.
All right, Scott Pruitt is going to be his teammate and is going to be up next for his next round. So Scott earlier had a few different things that got trimmed down and wound up pretty far back in the running order in the opening round. So he needs to have a good go here and see if they can avoid being in that bottom 5 to advance on in the effort. Tomorrow, the Concours.
Yes.
What can people that are coming out expect?
So if you take a look around you now and see the cars that are already on display, if you take that and multiply it by a gazillion, that's what it's going to look like tomorrow. Not only just down here by the clubhouse, but up at the upper loop, we've got Radwood, and we're very excited. Also, the race cars that are currently in the paddock right across from the clubhouse will be up at the Hendrick paddock tomorrow, looking across Radwood. So we've got over 100 vehicles in the Concours of all different makes, models, years, everything in between, and I really look forward to being a judge actually tomorrow as well.
Now that'll be fun for
sure.
You have a particular category?
Yes, I'm judging the Japanese class, so I'm very excited about that. That's near and dear to my heart. So we'll be out there judging on some Skylines and NSXs and things like that. And so
awesome. That'll be
definitely
fun.
A lot of fun.
And Racing America Live starting at noon tomorrow with the presentation of awards, a little Concours recap, and then we'll have all the award ceremony for you right where you're watching this if you're with us in the online streams, and look forward to that tomorrow for sure. All right, let's see what Scott Pruitt got done this time. That's better. That's a minute 1.7 seconds for Scott Pruitt.
It looked clean to me.
Yeah, I didn't
see any cones move.
Yeah, that's a minute 1 for Scott Pruitt, and so that should help with his AM teammate being up there among the leaders overall, not just of the AM drivers, but
told you he was
best.
A shoe. I
yeah,
told you.
Yeah, he's in there. That's a pretty good one. Patrick Duncan and Tommy Kendall are going to come up next. Folks want to come out tomorrow? Tickets available?
Tickets are still available for tomorrow, yes.
Yeah.
We did sell out a couple days ago for tonight, but tomorrow we do have tickets available at grounds and clubhouse.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for coming out. I'm having a blast here being part of this. It's such a wonderful facility, and congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you to the entire Racing America team for putting on such an incredible broadcast.
We're happy to be here and having a lot of fun doing it. It's the same thing. It's friends. It's cars. I think I opened the show today with the line that the place was built by people who love cars, for people who love cars, people who love race cars, for people, that's the basic thought.
Write it down. We're putting it on the website. I appreciate that.
It's all good. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Alan.
Have a great day.
You too.
All right, Patrick Duncan is on the racetrack. That's Graham Smith, who is the general manager of 1010's Motor Club. Family continues its passion and excellence in the motor racing industry, and Graham's a delight to talk to, and you can see the pride that they take in this facility and all that they do with it in that conversation. So here we go with Patrick Duncan, who on his first outing had a time of 1:11 and is coming around the bottom of the course to see if he can hustle it back up through these last couple of gates. Tommy Kendall, his teammate, posted the third best lap in the opening round. So this kind of an important run for Patrick. And let's see where he trips the timing lights. He does move up down to 15th place. That's 1:10.7 seconds for Patrick Duncan. So here we go for TK, Tommy Kendall, who was one of the Minute Flat Club earlier at a 1:977 second effort on round 1. And again, we're going to combine rounds 1 and 2 for both the pro and the AM partners. And the bottom 5 get dropped at the end of this go. We'll have another set of runs to bring us from 5 down to 3, and then we'll have our final shootout to determine which steps on the podium our finishers will be able to earn. Here is TK. Kendall, the 4-time Trans Am champion, 4th all-time in Trans Am wins, was an inaugural inductee into the Trans Am Hall of Fame last year. And just one of the great guys you'll ever sit and talk to. Easy to have a laugh with TK. Working hard here, coming down the hill. Look out. All right. Last lunge up the hill and around to the final gates. Tommy Kendall comes through at 1 minute flat, 0.452 seconds. That's faster by about a half a second than he ran the first time around. So he was third best first time around. He's just gone a little bit quicker on his second go for TK, Tommy Kendall. So that is 4 of the 10 teams that have made their second efforts in our IROC Pro-Am. Here's team number 5, Jerry Westland and Ken Schrader. Jerry ran a minute 10.9 earlier, and off he goes. All right, Jerry Westland up the hill. I don't know if that was from his onboard camera. We heard somebody saying slow, slow, or if we had an open mic someplace else that picked it up. But it might have been from him on board in the car, trying to either tell himself to go slower or just say, no, I'm too slow. But that was fun. So Jerry Westland is in, and that run is a minute 12.201 seconds. That's a little bit slower, about a second slower than he ran earlier in round 1. So Ken Schrader sits at the start lights now. Have course marshals that have to correct any cones that were knocked over between runs and that sort of thing before the next car gets turned loose. So when the starter gets the word that it's good to go, we'll be good. Ken, last time around, His first run was 1:10.9 seconds. That's a pretty look at this beautiful course. So Joey Logano has the fast time overall, fastest of the pros, the fastest AM, and second overall is J.C. Fickenshire, followed by Tommy Kendall, Max Pappas, Wyatt Foster, David Veronin, Ryan Wildrick, and Kurt Busch rounds out the top 8. And Schrader is on the course and on the clock. But working them hard there over on the backside of the course, aren't they? Left, right, left, right. All right, now the final charge up the hill for Ken Schrader. And the end of round number 2 for him. Squealing Lights just improved on his best lap by 0.3 of a second. So Ken down to 1:10.553 seconds. And that puts him 15th right now out of the drivers that have gone. So 15th best lap for Ken Schrader. So 5 teams down, 5 teams to go in round number 2. Next, it's Ryan Wildrick and Boris Said who will go, followed by Dave Roberts and Joey Logano. Wildrick in his first run ran a best time that is 7th overall at a 1:02.8. And Sit's getting the signal now that it's time to go. Got her rowed down and gotten it through without knocking anything down there. Now starting down that tricky backside of the course. And while we watch Ryan Wildrick, let's check with Amanda.
I ran the brights. I remember to run the brights.
Tommy Kendall and I just talking about his run, but what I loved is he was still down here coaching his co-driver, because I think you guys feel pretty confident you're going to advance here to round 3.
We have both of our laps were clean in both sessions, which is what I drilled into him. Now, he's gone from driving a Mack Tools truck to racing with the big dogs. He's doing a great job. And so little things, coaching him. He said he felt a little more on the edge. I said, well, with it being dark, it's hard to look ahead. So I reminded him to make sure you had your high beams on and things like that. But some of these kids, AMs, that are putting the heat on the pros. So, but the deal is clean. So, and you see where we shake out.
Traffic on 85 could be like a cone.
It could be. I mean, and it's funny. You got to balance the aggression, and one of the big things is course management. Like at the Masters, penalties kill you, and so that's what I drilled into him. And we'll see if it's enough, and we advance. I feel pretty good about getting into the next round, and then it's going to get tougher.
That's awesome. Thank you, TK.
Yep.
TK, third best lap overall by himself. Ryan Wildrick with the 7th best lap. But it was his first run that was the better of the two. That one was a tick slower. And now sitting in the starting blocks, getting ready to go, is Boris Said. Boris, 9th all-time in Trans Am wins. Couple of wins in the Rolex 24 Hours at Daytona, 10-time winner in the Grand Am Sports Car Series, 4 times in the American Le Mans Series, plus a winner in the NASCAR O'Reilly Series on a memorable day in Montreal, and a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series win out in Sonoma. Boris has taught a lot of competitors how to be better road racers over the years. We were having a laugh about that last night. Here he is, headed down the straightaway. Boris said, trying to improve on his time from the first run. That was 1:06.1 seconds. But remember, Boris had never even turned a lap on this 10-10ths Motor Club course, not being in the IROC competition earlier. Here he comes, final corners. Trying to get her woe down there through the chicane. And a checkered flag there for Boris, who trips the timing lights in a 101.939. 101.939. That's a pretty good improvement over his last lap. And that puts Boris right now 12th after 2 trips around the racetrack. So next up onto the racetrack will be the team of Dave Roberts and Joey Logano. Joey with the fastest overall time so far. And his partner Dave Roberts is off and on it. Dave, veteran vintage racer in the IROC cars earlier today as well. From the Carmel, Indiana area, out by Indianapolis. Dave has raced just about everywhere you can think of around the world in a lot of different things. Through the slalom down the backside of the course. Didn't see any cones go down. Here he comes, Dave Roberts through the timing line, and that will be a 1:14.6. And so that will put Dave in the 19th spot as far as his best laps are concerned. His first run was the better of the two at 1:12.0. Here goes Joey Logano. He's the fastest so far in the first round of competition. Can he have another clean run here? Can he post a sub-1 minute lap? He was a minute flat, 0.034 seconds first time around. That's pretty good. Joey Logano to the timing lines. He's under a minute. 59.054 seconds. The best lap we've seen so far in our competition. Under 1 minute for Logano around our course, 59.054. Well, there's a number to be thrown down. Now combine it with his teammates' time. Will it be enough to get him through to the next round? Now the team of Mark Martin and Kenny Habul. Kenny ran the 11th best time his first trip around the course, 1:04. Had to work her hard to get around that gate. He's sliding, he's squealing, he's slipping, he's pouring it on. Here he comes, Kenny Abul. Trips the timing line. That's 1:02.408 seconds. 1:02.4 for Kenny. Very consistent run with his first run, which was 1:04.3. So now that sets up Mark Martin to have a go. Well, Amanda, Joey Logano just set a pretty good mark for everybody else to shoot for.
Penalties. I just saw you talk to Kurt Busch, who got in the Mustang that you were driving. Ooh, sorry I said that. Sorry I said that word. Did you give him any insight?
No, I told him I backed her down a little bit because the first run I got a little bit over my skis and I about wrecked it. Well, at least about spun out into the cones. The second time I backed her down a little bit. Probably need to be somewhere in between to be the fastest, but it was a fun lap. I didn't make many mistakes. I got to work on the shifting a little bit. I was in the wrong gear one time. Gave up a little bit there.
He gave up a little bit, Alan. Everyone be scared.
He gave up a little bit, and he's still on top of the pylon. That's pretty good. All right, here's Mark Martin. Back up the hill toward the clubhouse. Last set of slalom corners for Mark, and here he comes to the timing light. Mark looking to better his time from his first run, and he does by about 4 seconds. So Mark at 1:07 flat has bettered his prior time. So 1:07.008 seconds for Mark Martin. Now that's the 18th overall best lap as far as times and speeds are concerned for Mark. 4 more runs to complete round 2 till we get to the cut. Who will be in the bottom 5 and get dropped? So here's the all-energy team of David Veronin and Tommy Dreese. This is Veronin, who in his first trip around set the 6th best lap of our competition so far at 1:02.4. Back up the hill to the clubhouse turns and through the gates. Last chicane. Right, left, right, and to the timing lights. And David will trip the timing lights at a better time than before, 1:01.708. So a couple of really steady, fast laps for David Veronin. And a 1:01.708 seconds puts him 4th best as far as single laps are concerned. And let's see what his teammate Tommy Dreese can do here. Tommy at his first lap did a 1:03.1. And he's on it. Tommy finished up on the podium the last Trans Am race here on Racing America at Road Atlanta. He'll be back in the field in a couple of weekends when the series heads to Sonoma for a doubleheader. home races for Tommy, or as close as they get. Tommy from Los Angeles, California. Tommy still racing Trans Am after all these years. Beginning of the season, I asked him why. He just put that big old energetic smile on his face and said, because I love it. Chasing that one. Final couple of gates here for Tommy Dreese. Checkered flag. And timing lights tripped for Tommy at 104.934. 104.934. That's a little bit better than his previous effort. So Tommy right now shows in 10th position. His teammate shows in 4th. I think they're in pretty good shape as far as advancing on into our next round of competition. So just 2 drivers left to run before we hit the cut line. And it's Jeff Owen who'll be first up, followed by Kurt Busch to wrap up our round 2 and set up the cut. So Owen is off and running. First times for Jeff was a 105.458. He was 11th fastest out of our 20 competitors. And he's screaming up the straightaway. All right, Jeff Owen coming up to the clubhouse turns. Final couple of gates for Jeff. Look out. That's a 104.959. Just improved his time by about a half a second from his earlier run. And then there was one. So one pro left to make his run, and then we'll find out which 5 teams get dropped before we go into our next round of competition. Here is Kurt Busch. Kurt, who set the 8th best time in our competition so far to 103.724. Sits waiting for the signal to go. Sounds like they're moving some a piece of equipment across the racetrack, which is why Kurt is getting the hold signal for just a second. And when race control gives us the all clear, we'll send Kurt Busch on his way for our final run of this second round. So who is in danger? Who is going to be out? Who's going to be in? All right, there he is, strapped in behind the wheel, waiting for the go-ahead, and he's got it. Kurt Busch lights him up. Here he comes. Final run of round number 2 before the bottom 5 teams get cut. Towing through the gates. So far, so good. Now down the hill. Is it going to be enough? Is it going to be better than last? Kurt Busch, who came in with the 8th best lap so far, sprints toward the finish, and he'll move up one spot to 7th. 102.509 for Kurt. Just did a lap of 102.509. That moves him up to 7th overall. And now the calculations begin. Which 5 teams finish in the bottom 5 and get dropped from our IROC Pro-Am right now? We'll find out when we come back to the 1010ths Motor Club and the Heritage Invitational on Racing America after this. Racing America's live at the 1010ths Motor Club and the Heritage Invitational, wrapping up day 1 of 2. Tomorrow we're back here at noon Eastern Time with the Concorde d'Elegance and all those beautiful cars. A lot more on that coming up soon, but again, noon tomorrow here on Racing America. Right now we're letting the officials do their calculating over in race control. Who are the 5 teams whose combined times between the pros and the AMs and the first 2 runs of each drop them from our competition and send them on their way out of this IROC Pro-Am. It's tight, but it's being double-checked and triple-checked, and we'll have word in a minute or so who does not continue in our race. Look at this beautiful facility, the clubhouse, filled with people throughout the day today. A lot of folks still inside having a good time tonight here on the evening part of our Heritage Invitational program. And still got another round for each of the 5 remaining driver teams. We'll have each of them run, so another 10 runs, and then we'll drop the 2 slowest teams after the next round. So our semifinal round is coming up here on a beautiful evening in Charlotte, North Carolina. 68 degrees at the moment, just absolutely phenomenal outside. And a great night to be here at a beautiful spot, enjoying a great event for a good cause. 1010ths Motor Club. This will be packed with some of the world's most beautiful cars tomorrow. They've got about 120 entries into the Concorde d'Elegance tomorrow, and the The judging begins pretty early in the morning here tomorrow. I think like 8:30 in the morning they'll start the judging on the different categories. And then starting at noon tomorrow, we'll come on the air and start passing out awards for the winners in all of the different categories and some of the special awards that go toward the end of the program as well. And it's supposed to be a spectacular day. Got the addition of Radwood, which will be part of the exhibit tomorrow, the cars from the 80s and 90s. That is a special part of the Heritage Invitational this year. And a great spot to be on a beautiful weekend in April. So adding it up now to see which of our 5 teams get dropped from the bottom of our field. And officials in race control double-checking the calculations. See that beautiful clubhouse terrace area that's been filled with people for so much of the day today. That silver car on the right is a beautiful street version of the Porsche GTP race car that was presented to Roger Penske on display here. Among many of the beautiful cars, there it is. It is a single-seater, I can confirm. Had a look inside it today. Leather interior to go with your Porsche Turbo racing car, the 993. But great to look at, all the advanced technology on that car as well, with the hybrid prototype racing machines that they run in the IMSA GTP series. There's a William Byron car across there, that big 24. Just inside the clubhouse, you'd see Bill Elliott's record speed car on display here at the Concours. The car that he ran the 212-mile-an-hour qualifying lap at Talladega in, it's here as well on display. There's the William Byron car. And this place will be packed with unique and spectacular race cars across all generations of the automobile racing particular theme of the Heritage Invitational. And we look forward to that tomorrow here at 1010's Motor Club. All right, so trying to figure out who are the bottom 5. Who gets sent home from our Pro-Am competition. And then the 5 advancing teams will hit the race course for their next round of runs. And they only get one shot at it the next time to be in the top 3. And then they'll cut the bottom 2, and we'll go into our final round to see who gets which steps on the podium. You see top of the screen the vintage Indy cars that were on the Speedway earlier today out on the race course. They'll be part of the Concours tomorrow. Get a nice up-close look at some of the great history of IndyCar racing and Indianapolis 500 racing. And there's some of the RK Motors cars, center of the screen toward the left side. Beautiful, rare, amazing vehicles on display here. I think that's a Chevy Bel Air, if I remember from earlier, right there at the very bottom of the frame. Spectacular looking vehicle. Good stuff for sure, if you love cars and race cars as well. So while they get this calculated out, let's squeeze in another commercial break here and take care of a little bit of business. We'll come back for the semifinal round of the IROC Pro-Am at 1010's Motor Club, live on Racing America. Back live with the Heritage Invitational IROC Pro-Am. And we're at that moment of drama where the announcement gets made. Which 5 teams finished in the bottom 5 and are done for the day? Amanda, it's all yours.
Hey, Alan, yeah, we're going to talk about the 5 teams that are advancing, starting with team number 5. I got the race director, Juxon Bloxham, to announce those. Start with team 5. Who is advancing?
Team 5 is going to be Team Pruitt.
That is Scott Pruitt and J.C. Fickenshire heading on to round number 3. And team number 4?
Team 4 is going to be Team Bush.
That will be Kurt Busch and Jeff Owen headed on to round number 3.
Team Dreesy.
All right, in third, Tommy Dreesy and David Vronin headed to the semis.
In position 2, Team Sed.
All right, that is Boris Said and Ryan Wildrick headed on to the semis.
And Team 1, Team Pappas.
And your overall from round 1 and round 2, Max Pappas and Wyatt Foster. Let's get ready for the semis, guys.
All right. Well, we know who's moved on. And we'll get ready now for the third round of runs with our 5 Pro-Am teams, Max Pappas and Wyatt Foster, Scott Pruitt and J.C. Fickenshire, Boris Said and Ryan Wildrick, Tommy Dreesy and David Veronin, and Kurt Busch and Jeff Owen. Those 10 drivers, 5 pairs of Pro-Ams, will make one more run around the course. The bottom 2 get dropped, and then we'll have our championship round to decide our Pro-Am winners for 2026. So they'll get moving toward the staging area, get everybody back aboard a car, and we'll get people rolling out toward the start grid for our semifinal round of the IROC Pro-Am tonight here at 1010's Motor Club. Well, what do we think? The margins can't be much between them, and so it'll be fascinating to see what the difference is here in this round between making the final round and being sent home as the bottom 2 of our semifinal round. Same penalties still apply. You hit one of those upright gate cones, you pick up a 2-second penalty. You have a total miss, which means hitting some of those laying down cones. That's 5-second penalty. And if you violate track limits, and that means you get a 10-second penalty. So really knocking down those gate cones, the upright ones, and getting those cumulative 2-second penalties, that turns out to be a lot of the difference in this thing. And so we'll see what turns up here as we get ready for our semifinal round of our IROC Pro-Am. As they get the drivers strapped in and head out toward the timing lights, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Green flag comes up for 5 more teams to go one more time around this race course to see who gets to make the finals of the IROC Pro-Am. ready for the semifinal round of the IROC Pro-Am here at the Heritage Invitational at 1010 Motor Club in Charlotte. 5 teams, 1 AM, who got his spot into this competition through a charitable donation, and 1 pro from one of the IROC pros who has competed here. And there are the 5 teams getting set to go, and this is the first of the drivers. This will be Wyatt Foster out onto the speedway now. Greensboro, North Carolina driver, along with his teammate Max Pappas, looks to can keep the good times rolling after they set the best combined 4-run time from the opening 2 rounds of our competition. Down the hill comes Foster through the gates. I used all of it there. Just barely squeezed inside that last cone. Here he is now, final couple of gates. Nice and clean. And to the timing lights. That's a good one. That's 59.407 for Wyatt Foster. 59.407. Second one to be under a minute around this course. Joey Logano was the first one to be under a minute. Wyatt Foster gets down into the sub 60-second club on his opening run of the semifinals. Here's Max Pappas now getting ready to go. He's got the signal, the course is his. Off he goes. Max, who's raced everything, everywhere from Formula One to IndyCar to NASCAR to the world's great endurance races. A winner in Champ Car, a winner in Daytona Prototype Competition, podium finishes in Le Mans, raced in the Indy 500, he's raced in IROC. And here he is in our Pro-Am now. Slides her through at the bottom end of the course, now charging up the hill toward the clubhouse turns. And Max Pappas across the line in 1 minute, 0.987 seconds. That's a minute flat, 0.987. And that's a couple of really solid runs from that team to open our semifinal round for Wyatt Foster and Max Pappas. So next on to the track will be J.C. Fickenshire and Scott Pruitt. So Fickenshire, who is operations manager here and has a zillion laps around this racetrack, getting set to go. So the combined time of the Pappas and Foster runs is a 2-minute flat, 0.394 seconds. So we'll see how these others add up together here as we go. So here's J.C. Fickenshire. He was right there at the minute flat club as well, and right near the top of the leaderboard through each of the opening 2 runs of our preliminary round. Does familiarity breed success, or does familiarity breed cone contempt as we get into the later stages of our competition? The backstretch slalom now down the hill. And final couple of corners for J.C. Fickenshire. Here he is, charging to the timing lights. That'll be the second best time. 1 minute flat, 0.357 seconds. He is 0.9 of a second slower than Wyatt Foster. 1 minute flat, 0.357 for J.C. Fickenshire. So next up will be Scott Pruitt, the five-time Rolex 24 at Daytona winner. Looking to see if he can be down after a clean run around that 1 minute mark. Hustling her through. Look at the front end of that car dive when he stabs the brakes. Now, hopefully he left the phone outside the car this time. Final corners for Scott Pruitt. Here he is to the timing lines, and Scott runs a minute 1.206. Check that, 206. A minute 1.206. So the combined time on that is 2 minutes and 1.563 seconds. So that's slightly behind the time of Pappas and Foster after 2 of our 10 teams to go. Team number 3, Boris Seds, the pro, and Ryan Wildrick is the AM on the track in the silver car. Ryan Wildrick. He's a fast one. All right, Ryan Wildrick coming to the final gates and back around to the timing line. See what kind of a number he can set as our third of 10 teams gets going. Wildrick will trip the timing lights at a minute 1.916 seconds. A minute 1.916. Now that's the 5th fastest out of the 5 individual laps that have run. But now part of the load falls on his teammate Boris Sed to see what he can do in the combined effort. So a minute 1.916, the time for Wildrick, and here goes Boris Sed off onto the course. Smoking her on in there. Go get him, Boris. Man on a mission as Boris comes up to the final couple of gates. And let's see what the number is. Boris said to the timing lights. That's a good one. A minute flat, 0.617 seconds. A minute flat, 0.617 for Boris said. So the combined time for Boris and Ryan Wildrick will be a 2:02.533. And leave us now with 2 teams to run to see which 2 get dropped from the bottom. David Veronin is on the track now. David's been speedy. He was up in the top 5 of those single best laps in the round 1 efforts. And Veronin teamed with Tommy Dreesy. Team Energy, I think we decided after their interview with Amanda earlier. All right, working toward the timing lines now. Let's see what kind of a number David can put up here to set his teammate up for a spot perhaps in the final round to compete for the top step of the podium. Here it is, and David Veronin is under 1 minute. 59.770 seconds, 59.77 for David, and the second member of the sub 1 minute club here in our semifinal round. So as far as fast laps are concerned, it's Wyatt Foster with a 59.40, David Veronin with a 59.77, J.C. Fickenshire with a 1 minute .357. So the 3 AMs have the top 3 speeds in our semifinal round, followed by Boris Said, Max Pappas, and Scott Pruitt. Here is Tommy Dreesy, Los Angeles, California. Star of the Trans Am Series. Whoa, hang on, Tommy. He's got an adventure going out there, but so far it looks like all the cones are still standing, and that's important. All right, he made it to the checkers. Tommy Dreesy. Oh, maybe one of the cones went down. Maybe a couple, because Tommy's at a minute 4.184. 104.184 for Tommy Dreesy. And so the combined time for the 2 teams is going to be, or for the 2 runs, is going to be a 2:03.954. And right now that is 4th of the 4 teams that have run as far as unofficial combined time. Now, mind you, this is me adding times together here while I'm on the air talking, and I may have forgotten to carry 1 somewhere. Here's Jeff Owen now, along with Kurt Busch, our final duo. Mark that they need to beat, to me, looks like a combined 2:02.5. Down to the slalom gates on the hill, headed down toward the bottom of the course. No, a little wide there, gave it a scare. Got through it cleanly. And here we go. Lunging for the cones. The first of the 2 times in this final team is a 106.480. 106.480. And so that is going to leave Kurt Busch to do some work here if this team is going to beat the mark to find a way inside our top three. So far, Max Pappas and Wyatt Foster, the fastest combined time of our semifinal round. And here goes the final run of the semifinals. It's Kurt Busch. Started his day here with a win in the IROC Series race after a great fight with Jeff Gordon. Can he finish it with a rally to find a spot in the semifinals? Or excuse me, in the finals. These are the semifinals. Last round is coming up next. 3 advance, 2 are done. And this round, this race, this lap determines it all. And charging back up the hill, final couple of corners of our semifinal round for Kurt Busch. Here he is charging now to the timing lights. And let's see what he trips the numbers as this time. Kurt is going to go at a minute, .114. And that is going to be the final run of this semifinal round. So we'll stand by and see for the official tally of who advances and who doesn't. But Kurt with the 3rd best time of that run, but I don't believe it's going to be enough. So we'll combine the times of the pro run and the AM run, and we'll drop the bottom 2 and set us up for a final set of 3 runs. 3 for the pros, 3 for the AMs, and steps on the podium at stake. It's the IROC Pro-Am from the Heritage Invitational on Racing America. a live look down at 1010's Motor Club in Charlotte, North Carolina, where officials in race control are calculating the combined times from our Pro and our Am in the second round, semifinal round of the IROC Pro-Am to see which 3 teams advance and which 2 teams are done for their Saturday here at the Heritage Invitational. All right, let's find out. The calculations are done, and Amanda Busick is with race control.
Yeah, and I have just the man that's going to tell us that. All right, our top 3 headed to the finals here at the Pro-Am Invitational.
Number 3, with a 202.53 is Team Said. Team Said. In second after the round, with a 201.56 is Team Pruitt. And in first, with a 2 flat, is Pappas.
All right, Alan, we're headed to the finals here. A couple of housekeeping. We're going to run them in reverse order from finishing. So our third place finisher is going to run. The second place finisher and that Max Pappas team will finish us off. We're going to have all the Ford Mustangs parked up here. We're all going to go down to the front stretch and celebrate the podium together. So here we go.
All right. Amanda, thanks. So 6 runs, 3 teams of 2 to decide who stands on what step on the podium in our final event of this day 1 of the Heritage Invitational here at 1010's Motor Club. Again, a reminder, tomorrow is the Concours d'Elegance, and the gates open pretty early in the morning. The judging begins about 8:30, I believe. And tomorrow here on Racing America Live at noon Eastern Time, we'll be here with a little Concours review show. And then we'll have all of the awards and ceremonies for you live here on Racing America. Again, that is Sunday at noon Eastern Time, and hope that you will be with us. So who's going to win it? The final 3 pairings in our Pro-Am Heritage Invitational event are those: Wyatt Foster and Max Pappas, who had the best overall combined time in our semifinal round, Scott Pruitt and J.C. Fickenshire, and then Boris Said and Ryan Wildrick, who had the second and third best combined times in the semifinal rounds. And here we go. So again, the third place group, this will be Ryan Wildrick, followed by Boris Said. That will toe the line and get set. 1 lap for each of the Pro and the Am. We combine the times, and it'll tell us who gets on what step of the podium today. All right, so Ryan is aboard, and there is Boris. And in just a minute, when it's course clear, we'll get the job underway for determining who our winner is in this one. And again, just while we await the start of this final round, just a big nod of congratulations and thanks to all of those who participated in the Am part of our competition, and all the great work that what their contributions will do for charity and Speedway Children's Charities. And getting ready to go here.
Replicate it right here. Yeah, exactly. That's what. Light 'em up.
Waiting to get some of the other cars staged on the grid so we can click off this final round. All right, here we go. 3 teams, 6 runs. We're about 7 minutes or so away from finding out who our Pro-Am champions will be for 2026 here at the Heritage Invitational. It's Wildrick and Said, followed by Fickenshire and Pruitt, and then Foster and Pappas to cap off our day. 6 cars, 6 laps. 1 team will win. All right, signal's been given. The course is clear. Here we go. Ryan Wildrick is on it. Last shot of the day. Make it a clean run, make it a good run. You heard him say from behind the wheel on the onboard camera, just replicate it like he did in the last round. A little bit of a square corner there. Aggressive on that. Look at the front end of that car diving and bobbing as he whips the car back and forth. Brake gas, brake gas. Final charge up the hill for Ryan Wildrick. The first numbers to be posted of our final podium round. Here it is. Timing lights. Survey says it's a 102.275. 102.275 for Ryan Wildrick. And back to the paddock he goes to nervously wait and see how that fares. So now it's Max Pappas. Course is clear, and he's off. It took a combined 2-minute flat to win the semifinal round, so Max is going to have to be in that sub 1 minute club if they're going to equal the time they posted in the prior round. Up the hill on the brakes. Nicely done. Ride him, cowboy. When he first came to the U.S. to race, most of us noticed him in the Rolex 24 at Daytona. They called him Mad Max. He charged so hard. Let's see what kind of a number Max is able to put up here as he comes to the final gates. Checkered flag and the end of his Pro-Am competition. It will be a 102.417 for Max Pappas. So a combined time for the Pappas-Foster team of 2:04.692. That is about 4 seconds slower than they won the semifinal round with, but we'll have to see how these final runs go. As that last semifinal round went on, the times got slower as the session went on. Let's see if that's a trend. That could be a good number. We don't know. Check that. Did I say that was Max Pappas? That was Boris Said. I'm sorry, I looked at the wrong line on my lineup sheet. That was Boris Said, not Max. So 2:04.692. Been a long day. Max will be the last one to run. This is J.C. Fickenshire, one of the fastest in our entire competition here, all evening long. Can he put up another sub 1 minute lap here? J.C. Fickenshire down the back side of the course. A lot of squealing tires out there. All right, to the line. Time is the best we've seen so far. 1 minute, .037 seconds. 1 minute, .037 for J.C. Fickenshire. That is the best time of the three that have gone in our final round to this point. And sets up his teammate Scott Pruitt to go. So 1 minute flat, .037 for J.C. Fickenshire. Scott is off. Here he goes. Nice clean run here for Pruitt, and it may be hard to beat off that Fickinger time, but we'll see. Wyatt Foster ran one of those sub 1 minute times in our semifinal round, and he's got Max Pappas by his side. Here is Scott Pruitt looking to combine with J.C. Fickinger's 1 minute flat, .037 second lap. That's the best of our final round so far. To the timing lights, and for Scott Pruitt, it is going to be the fastest time of this final round, just about. 1 minute flat, another 1 minute flat, .946. 1 minute flat, .946. Now I'm looking, and it looks like J.C. Fickinger may have picked up a penalty for a cone because his time now shows a minute 2, .037. So you combine the two, and that's still going to be a pretty tough time to beat for this pair. That's still going to be a 2:02.983 if that all holds. Final pair on the clocks. Wyatt Foster, who came in at sub 1 minute in the semifinal round, is on the clocks. Can the Greensboro driver keep it under control and keep it quick? Here's Foster down the hill. Last part of the course. Turn 14, now charging up the hill. Can he swerve through these final gates and leave the cones where they're supposed to be? And is it quick enough? To the timing lights. And that's a good one. 58.444 seconds. The first one below 59 seconds. 58.444 for Wyatt Foster. That is a good one. So let's see here. I'm thinking anything below a minute 4 is going to be good enough for Max Pappas. Unofficial calculations from the desk. Here he goes. Final run of our championship round is on the clocks. Max Pappas. Make it a clean one. And it'll probably be good enough. Down the hill he comes through the slalom gates on the backside of the course. Did he leave all the cones standing? Here he is now, turn 14. And up the hill for the final time in our IROC Pro-Am. Timing lights ahead for Max Pappas. And the time for Pappas is also under a minute. 59.807 seconds. So 2 runs from our final team of under a minute is going to be good enough to clinch them the top spot on the podium. So we'll get our official results and have our podium ceremony in just a minute. But our IROC Pro-Am is winding down. The last runs were the best runs. And we'll have final results and hear from the winners in just a minute. Well, what a fun cap to our night here at 10 Cents Motor Club. Our Pro-Am competition, the autocross style team event between a professional driver and an amateur driver. Looking at some of the highlights now as these drivers took these high performance cars around, tried to leave the cone standing and see who could put the best combined times ahead. And in the end, we started with 10 teams. We whittled it down to 5 for the semifinals and down to 3 for our championship round. And we got a spectacular performance to close out our championship round as both our pro and our am each set a time of less than 1 minute, penalty-free around our course to claim the championship. And it'll be Wyatt Foster and Max Pappas who are our Pro-Am champions. Unofficially, still waiting for official confirmation from race control, but I believe that will clearly be the case as we wind things down here on this day one of the Heritage Invitational. A lot of fun, a lot of money raised for good causes, great weather, huge crowd, sold out today for day one, and tomorrow we come back and do it again with the Concours d'Elegance, and all these beautiful, 120 some beautiful cars, including a lot of great, classic, beautiful race cars that are part of the Heritage Invitational. Is that Max? He wasn't going to let Kurt Busch be the only one who did a victory donut today. Very nice, Max. Very nice. All right, setting up for our podium celebration for our Pro-Am competition today. And again, biggest congratulations to all who made the donations to charity and made raising money to support Speedway Children's Charities and all the great causes and work that they do happen as part of our Heritage Invitational event here today on this Saturday. the hardworking crew here at 1010's Motor Club, who's been here since early this morning and going to wrap up the night with us tonight with the staging of the podium celebration for the members and for our winners. Speaking of winners, you see Amanda there in the shot from the drone with our 2 Pro-Am winners tonight.
From Greensboro, North Carolina, Wyatt Foster was a stand-in driver for Seth Henry here this weekend and win the whole event. What are you going to say to Seth?
He's going to be like, man, and he's going to be really disappointed he couldn't make it. But I want to say thank you to the Henry family for allowing me the opportunity to come run with all of my childhood heroes. I mean, between Mac Pappas and Boris Said and Scott Pruitt is a legend to me. So it's just, to be on the podium with these guys is like, this is going to be a singular lifetime achievement for me. So I'm beyond grateful for everyone. The Heritage Invitational, the whole charity event, just amazing operation. So I'm just really grateful to everybody. Thank you.
Great job, Wyatt, and also the quickest man on property here tonight. And Max at entrance, as always. But I want to go back to the drivers' meeting. When you stood up and addressed the room and you thanked Ray Evernham and you just thought how grateful you are for this moment, we're going to step on that top step. I know these moments mean something to you. What is it tonight?
I mean, first of all, congratulations, Wyatt. You've done a great job. Honestly, very impressive. I did everything I could to outrun you, and I couldn't do it. So, legit guy. 1010, IROC, Ray Evernham, Marcus Smith, they've done something unique. They create a legacy. They created a place that is a stardom for people that love racing in general and celebrating it. So, it was a dream of mine. It's always good to win. That's what I always say. Raising the P1 trophy is always important for your own inner personal satisfaction. So tonight I'm going to bring that home. Thank you for allowing me to do that to my kids. And, great to be here in this amazing event. It's an honor and looking forward to be part of the growth of the 1010 motorsport.
How do you rate your burnout?
I would say that's how we park in Italy, and that's about 10 out of 11.
Congratulations to Max Pappas and Wyatt Foster. It is time for the podium celebrations down here as we get set to celebrate here for our Pro-Am Invitational. In third place tonight in the Heritage Pro-Am Invitational, please welcome to the stage your pro, Boris Said, and the amateur, Ryan Waldrick. Your runner-ups in tonight's event, the pro, Scott Pruitt, and your am, J.C. Fickenshire. And your winner here at the 1010's Motor Club. They made themselves known in round 1 and round 2. They were the leader in the semifinals and finished it off here in the finals. Wyatt Foster, the stand-in, and Max Pappas.
All right. There's a fun finish to a fun day and a great day at the Heritage Invitational. That's just the beginning. We had our IROC competition earlier today. Kurt Busch and Jeff Gordon in a fantastic duel. Kurt Busch coming out on top. A sellout crowd, beautiful weather. We capped our night with our great Celebrity Pro-Am competition to raise some money for Speedway Children's Charities. Tomorrow, Racing America live from the Heritage Invitational starting at 12 noon Eastern. The concourse is open tomorrow morning. Tickets are available. Come on out, see the great cars if you're in the area. If not, join us here on Racing America where you're watching now, and we'll have coverage of the award ceremonies for you tomorrow starting at noon Eastern. For our entire Racing America crew and on behalf of everyone here at the Heritage Invitational and Amanda Busick, Alan Bestwood, thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow from 1010's Motor Club here in Charlotte.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of Racing America. We hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.